Hello everyone. I want to share my little knowledge about participles in this video now. Participles, this is actually advanced structure, but it is okay. We can learn it together. Let's begin. We have two kinds of participles, that is the present participles with this form, verb 1 plus ing. Remember that what is added with ing is verb 1, not verb 2 or verb 3. And then the second is past participles. The form is verb 3. And let's talk about the function of participles in sentences. Actually, present participle is also used in noun, but I don't talk about this in this video, because when it functions as noun in a sentence, it is called gerund. I have different video for gerund. I hope that before you learn or you watch this video, you have watched my videos on gerund. Okay. Now we talk about the function of participle in sentences as verb. So, present participle is used in continuous tenses. All of continuous tenses needs verb 1 ing, to be plus verb 1 ing. That is the structure. That's why we have this sentence. During this camp, the children are learning how to be responsible and discipline themselves. Are learning. This is present continuous. The trainers have been preparing the camp activities for a day. The trainers have been preparing. This is present perfect continuous. So you can change this into past continuous. Okay, like the children were learning, or in present future continuous will be learning. Or this one in past perfect continuous had been preparing. So all in continuous tenses you will need present participle, because that is the structure. And the next is past participle. We have two functions here. We can find, what I mean is we can find past participle in simple perfect tenses. We have simple present perfect, we have simple past perfect, and simple present future perfect. So some educators have transformed the conventional learning system into the digital one. Have transformed here is present perfect. That's this. This is verb 3 or past participle. The minister will have passed a law on education system by the end of this semester. So past, this is the past participle. Present future perfect. Of course, this must be the simple one, not the continuous one. And then it is also used in passive voice. As we know the structure of passive voice, that is to be subject plus to be plus verb 3. All of the tenses will use verb 3. I hope that you can also learn passive sentence or passive voice in my video, because we will talk about participles, I mean past participle as passive. I mean the meaning is passive. So I hope that you know about passive voice. It will help you to understand what I will explain. Let's see. Through psychomotor activities, the children are expected to develop their cognitive function. So we have to be here and verb 3 or past participle. This is simple present. Parents are being trained to communicate effectively with their children. Are being trained. This is passive, and in present continuous. We have two kinds of to be here, are and being. Being shows that this is continuous. Okay. Now go to the other function of participle in sentences, that is as adjective. I will use this sentence to explain or to make it clear how to make a verb become adjective. The activities encourage the students So the activities is the subject encourage the students. So how is the characteristic, or how is the activities? How is the activities? The activities are encouraging. So the meaning is active. This is present participle as subject complement, because this is put after the to be and it explains the activities. And how are the students? How are the students? The students are encouraged. So this is past participle. The meaning is passive. If you have like this, the students are encouraged to learn by the teacher, then encourage is the verb or function as the verb, because there is by the teacher. But if you have like this, the students are encouraged, so encourage here as the subject complement that explain the students, so this is adjective. These two kind of adjectives can be put as compound adjective like this. We plan some encouraging activities for the students. Encouraging activities. So we put encouraging here as the modifier to modify activities. That's why it is as compound adjective. And I put it in a sentence. We plan some encouraging activities for the students. The same as this. So we put encourage before the students as modifier. So the encouraged students look enthusiastic in learning. I make this phrase or this compound noun in sentence. Okay, you can also see how to put or to use the compound adjective in the sentence. Teachers should have stimulating questions to make students think logically. Stimulating questions. The questions are stimulating. The depressed learners will achieve nothing. Learners or the learners are depressed. And I put these compounds in sentences. Okay, next. We have again adjective, but as reduced relatives. Reduced relative means that we will relate to dividing relative clause. I hope that you also watch my video on adjective clause, so you can know the difference between who, whom, whose, etc. In this case, we will use only who or which that functions as subject. I mean, the relative pronouns are subject. You can use who or which, but in my sentence I use who. Students who merely memorize the material for the exam without having good concept on it may fail in the exam. Now, I will reduce this clause by omitting who and put the verb into present participle. Students merely memorizing the material for the exam without having good concept on it may fail in the exam. You have here memorizing. This is present participle. This is also present participle have past verb 1. But they have different function. In this case, in this word, in this position, this present participle functions as the adjective that explains the students through defining relative clause, which has been reduced, or this is called reduced relatives. But here, this is gerund. As I told you that I hope that you have learned about gerund before. This is gerund because it takes the position of noun that is after the preposition without. Let's see the other. The teacher who is speaking in the webinar has a unique method in making his students learn effectively. So again, you just omit the the relative pronoun, who. You just omit who and also the to be, and then you have this. I want to show you that actually the reduced relative that comes from defining relative clause can have some different tenses like simple present, present continuous, simple past, past continuous. But when we reduce this, you just have it in the form of present participle or verb 1 ing. That's why you just put memorize plus ing, and then you omit is also, so the teacher speaking. So when you have the sentence like this with reduced relative speaking and then memorizing, it doesn't mean that these were always in continuous tense. No, it depends on the meaning. That's why you must understand about the tenses. Okay, now I want to show this in making. So this is also gerund because this is put after the preposition. So this is gerund. Okay, next. I want to tell you about another tense. We are going to meet the speaker who spoke on the nature of high-level thinking. Who spoke? This is in past. So we are going to meet the speaker speaking. Again, you just change this into verb 1 ing and omit who. The next, students who have mastered basic facts and skills should be able to mentally manipulate information. So students having mastered, because this is in present perfect, you don't change master into verb 1 ing, but you have this auxiliary become the present participle. So this is called a perfect participle. Students having mastered basic facts and skills should be able to mentally manipulate information. So see, you have some different tenses for the defining relative clause that has become the reduced relative. So ing here or verb 1 ing here doesn't mean that this is always in continuous. Okay, now we come to past participle. It means that this is verb 3, and past participle here the meaning is passive. Lower level and higher level forms of thinking and learning which are addressed in school curriculum can help students learn effectively. Which are addressed, so this is to be and verb 3, so the same thing. The same way you have to omit the which and also the to be. So addressed, you just have addressed here. Lower level and higher level forms of thinking and learning addressed in school curriculum can help students learn effectively. So you just have this one. And then how about this? The tenses is in present continuous. Students who are being trained. So you omit who and the to be, the same as this, which and are the to be and the relative pronoun, and leave being trained here. Being cannot be omitted because it shows the tenses. If you have being trained here, it means that the tense is in continuous. Students being trained to know and use learning strategies will be able to maximize learning and memory. So don't forget, if there is or if it is continuous tense, you have being here for passive. Other tense, I show you this present perfect. Students who have been used to doing problem solving and critical thinking can be more creative, productive, and innovative. So the same, put this, you just omit who, and then you change have here into the present participle. But this is still can be called as perfect participle in passive, because we use here past participle, although there is present participle here. Again, you have doing here, that is ing, shows that this is gerund after a certain verb that is be used to. It is possible that you can have a sentence with a lot of present participle or past participle. I mean, it can be more or 3 participles in a sentence. But if you know the concept, it means that you know the position of the past participle or the present participle in sentences. It will not be confusing, or you can understand, oh, this is gerund, or oh, this is verb, or this is as adjective. Okay, so we come to the next function, that is with adverbial meaning. Present participle. Adverbial meaning here, we have clause of reason to show cause and effect, and then with time, adverbial clause of time with while and after. Because the students know about effective learning strategies, they can have higher achievement. The most important when you want to have or to reduce the clause with or to be only the present participle like this, you must have the same subject for the main clause and the subclause. So they here is the same as the students. If you have different subjects for the subclause and the main clause, you cannot change or you cannot have the present participle form like this. And also, what are the one that you can change into the present participle is the subclause, not the main clause. So the way is the same, like what I told you before in the just clause. So you just omit the conjunctions here and the subject. The conjunction and the subjects are omitted, and you put this in present participle. So knowing about effective learning strategies, the students can have higher achievement. It is necessary, or it's better for you to put the students here to in this, in order that you can understand that the subject of knowing here is the students. And then it is in appropriate clause of time. While the teacher is applying the new system, he is observing whether it is effective or not. While the teacher is trying. So he here also refers to the teacher, the same subject. So you put it like this. The conjunction, the subject, and the to be are omitted. And you have trying, applying the new system. Whoa. Trying, applying, confusing? Oh, I will explain it to you. Trying here is the present participles that shows the adjective or the adverbial meaning, while applying is gerund because it is put after the word trying. That means experiment or having an experiment. And you can put trying here after the main clause. Actually, you can have like this. He is or the teacher is observing whether it is effective or not while he is trying applying the new system. Or the same as this, the students can have higher achievement because the students know about effective learning strategies. You can put main class first and then you have the subclass. Of course, there will be no comma. But if you have the subclass first here, you need comma. So there is comma here, there is comma here. But when you put the subclass after the main class, there is no comma. That's why there is no comma here. I hope that you will not be confused when you find in the text or in the test the structure like this sentence. Because actually this is the adverbial clause that has been reduced. Okay, so how can we know that, oh, this is knowing, trying here, or this is because, this is why on, or here this is after, or the the adverbial is adverbial clause of time and here adverbial clause of reason. Of course, you must understand the meaning through the context, whether it shows the time or whether it shows the cause. So if the sentence shows cause and effect, of course it is because. But if this shows the time, so you have while and after. And then for after you have the present perfect here or the past perfect. It depends on the time. After the students have known the effective study strategies, they apply them in their learning. Having known, so the same as participle, perfect participle. So you have like this: having known the effective study strategies, the students apply them in their learning. So having known. Actually, you can have like this: the students having known the effective the students having known the effective study strategies apply them in their learning. It is okay, you can have it like that. But if you want to show that this is adverbial clause of time or this shows cause and effect, you may have like this. That's why when later you have found the sentence with this and then comma and then with present participle at the front and then there is comma, you know that this is present participle that shows cause and effect, and this is clause of time. Let's have past participle. Actually, it is the same, but the meaning is passive because we use verb 3. Since teachers and parents are required, since the same as because, so you omit since, teachers and parents, and the to be you just have like this. Of course, they here is the teachers and parents. That's why you can put it teachers and parents here. Required to impart the desirable moral trait through lectures at school and at home. Teachers and parents should be the model of the traits themselves. So required, you just have the past participle. The same as this. While the children were being guided to work in a team, were being guided, this is past continuous. Being guided to work in a team, the children found out that it's difficult to make an agreement. Being guided. So this is continuous. After the students have been grouped in accordance to their special needs, have been grouped. This is perfect. Having been grouped, the same thing. You have present participle here, but you have past participle here because this is passive. So again, this is still perfect participle. Having been grouped in accordance to their special needs, the students are giving different learning strategies. So again, if you want to know that the subject is this, try to give them back. I mean, what are omitted here, like the conjunction and then the subject and then the to be, then you will see that actually this is cause and effect. So you have because, or you have since, teachers and parents, and then because this is past participle, it means that it is passive, so you need to be. So because teachers and parents are required. Is it always are? Of course not, because you have past, I mean simple past also. How to decide whether this is simple present or simple past using are or were? Of course, you must see the main clause or the whole meaning of the sentence. The same thing like this, it can be the children were being guided or are being guided. It depends on the main clause, because this is simple past. Of course, this must be past continuous. The same as this, the students are given, so this is present perfect, not past perfect. Okay, now I want to make you pay attention on this. As I told you that participle can be used also in or as adverbial meaning, with adverbial meaning. So we can have other adverbial clauses. So we have concession and conditional sentence like this. But in concession and conditional with if and although here, you don't have to omit the conjunction. You have to omit only the subject. So although memorizing everything, again, if it is present participle, the meaning is active. But if used, this is past participle, the meaning is passive. So if the strategies are used, if used in the heterogeneous classroom, the strategies must be prepared well. Automatically we know that what is used here or what are used here, of course the strategies, because again the subject of the main clause and the subclause must be the same. Okay, one more thing you have to know about this. You can have the the reduced clause. You can have the reduced clause like this. The teacher emphasizes on activities requiring high motivation. This is reduced clause that comes from defining relative clause. You can have it in this structure. Put it in the compound noun like this. So activities which require high motivation, the same thing. But be careful when you have like this. Activities requiring high motivation. Of course, it is not motivation or high motivation which require activities, but here activities which require high motivation. To know whether the noun is activities or motivation, you must try to, of course, understand the meaning. Change it back into defining relative clause, then you can know whether the noun here is activities or motivation. Like this, behavior influenced by environmental events has become the teacher concern. And then you have this, environmental events influence behavior must become the teacher concern. The subject is still the same, behavior and behavior. It is not environmental events. So you must again change them into the adjective clause or defining relative clause. So you will know which is the noun. Okay, I think that Yes, I know that this is difficult enough because you have to know, you have some knowledge about gerund, about adverbial clause, about adjective clause, and then about tenses, and also passive to understand how the participles here used. That's why before you learn the participle, I hope that you have learned about those that I mentioned in my previous videos. I hope that you can learn with me about all of the materials. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.